Lucky Lefty podcast. Hump Day, Wednesday. Onora boys are definitely in the building. Left is so funny. I just want to get this on record. With Before we get to that, we're going to talk about People of Aqua getting glowing remarks from former Notre Dame play-by-play guy Mike Tirico. And if Mike Tirico says this dude is the truth, man, I'm starting to feel really good about Pete Bevacqua as the next AD in Notre Dame. I really am. We'll talk about that. We have some recruiting, some 25 kids. Blake Hebert broke down his film yesterday, and we feel like one thing that we noticed that Gino Gaduli, as the quarterback coach, and Jared Parker, they've changed the idea of what a Notre Dame quarterback is going to look like moving forward. We love that. We love that. We love it. Then left, the Elite 11 is right around the corner left. And we're going to have to get our guy, Brandon Wimbush. Shout out to Mogul and their relationship that has been established with the Elite 11. He's going to be out there, and it's going to be good for you and him to see each other and chop it up and get to see these 11 quarterbacks, do their thing.
Is it this week? Is this weekend, right, or something like that?
I think it's next weekend, if I'm not mistaken, left.
Yeah, I'm gonna always stop by to see our guys, see some guys out there throwing the football.
I believe it's next weekend, if I'm not mistaken. But let's look at the guys. Dylan Rayola, Julian Salen, DJ Lagway, Jaden Davis, CJ Carr, Aaron Nolan, Elijah Brown, who's not committed, Luke Cromenhoek, Ryan Puglisi, Colin Hurley, Desmond Williams Jr., Dante Reno, Michael Hawkins, Isaac Wilson, Will Hammond, Daniel Kalen, House Heine, Trevor Jackson, Danny O'Neill, and Ethan Grunkmeyer will be participating. Just give me a couple of guys that you will be looking at. Like when you get there last year, you went and you were like, yo, I have to go watch Dante. Like, I got to go watch Dante throw the rock. And you ended up spending time watching Kenny Minchie, thinking it was Dante because of their hairstyles.
Man, interestingly enough, Desmond Williams, I was with him and grew up. Well, he grew up as I was training him in Arizona when he was in 7th grade. So to see him make it this far, really happy for him. So I am interested to see Damon compete. Aaron Nolan, man, I really liked his film. I'm not gonna lie. So really interested to see Aaron Nolan. I think
he's a lefty, right?
Man,
he's a lefty, right?
I don't know, but man, he's
I
nice.
think he is.
Man, he's nice. Colin Hurley, I heard, was supposed to be the number one guy in the class early on. I heard he was pretty good. Interested. Obviously, our guy CJ Carr, who's I think if anything, he lays right in the middle of all of these guys. From he can have the most potential of rise, I think, from an expectation point, because I think a lot of these guys are pretty highly touted. DJ Lagway, excited to see him, Florida guy. Jaden Davis, he was actually pretty cool. I met him before. I actually know a lot of these kids, and to see them be this old is kind of crazy because I'm like, dang, I didn't even know they was this old. Julian Sand, saw him before. I think he's pretty good. Dylan Rayola, I saw him at the Elite 11. Actually, the same day we had called about.
It is this weekend left. It's this weekend. The 14th through the 16th.
Oh, it's today.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was that? It was the day you called me. and it was some big news. Well, remember that day I called you? There was some big news because I was at the Elite 11 that day too.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Raiola was there, and he looks like, man, he's huge. He looked like a Patrick Mahomes look-alike in terms of just size. Like the man is like 6'4", giant. Now he may be the quote unquote Gunner Kill of the group,
Mm-hmm.
just because I know him from playing at Chandler High School last year, the things that went on there. So there's a little bit of Gunner Kill in that aspect. So I'm not surprised of him going to Georgia late, when he had Ohio, that whole thing. So, man, it's a really, really good group. I think this is a strong group because it's not just a Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields show. All of these quarterbacks, at least 8 of them, are highly touted guys. I don't know the Will Hammond, the Daniel kid. I don't know Hoss. I don't know Danny O'Neal. I don't know those guys, but from the guys that are highly touted, those guys are pretty dang good. So it's going to be a good thing. I'll make sure I'll stop by and see some guys.
It's going to be interesting. And you know what? I don't even want CJ Carr to win it. I don't need him to win it. As long as he goes out there and competes and shows that he's one of the top guys.
Yeah, he just got to show he's the top guy.
That's it. Because usually the top 3 or 4 guys end up going into college football and playing very well from this competition every year.
Yeah, you usually get a good depiction of who you're going to see in the next 2 to 3 years as that we circle back and be like, dang, remember I was telling you about such and such? And, so, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how who above this top competition stands above themselves,
Absolutely. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Don't forget Apple Podcast, Spotify. Tap in with us. CFB Nation, exclusively beginning in the fall. We appreciate you guys. You have supported us. We continue to grow with the subscriptions on YouTube. And don't forget to smash that like button. Well, just the same way you subscribe on YouTube. If you're subscribed to Lucky Lefty, we really need you to subscribe to CFB Nation along with Irish Breakdown. Okay? We're on the Irish Breakdown feed and the CFB Nation feed moving forward. We're going to be exclusively on CFB Nation because we need to grow CFB Nation. So if you follow Irish Breakdown, do us a great favor and follow CFB Nation. It takes one click. That's it. You'll be able to get all the audio audibles we give you each and every day. With the home of the misguided passion. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Before we get into Pete Bevacqua and the story in the athletic, I want to discuss something that I find left. I'm not that parent that believes my daughter doesn't do wrong.
Right.
I'm not that parent that believes my daughter, like I didn't raise her thinking she was never going to curse.
Right.
Like I remember the first time I heard her curse, I laughed and I was like, dude, you're terrible.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't going crazy, like, oh my God, you said a bad word. It's like, dude, you're a kid. That comes with the territory of growing up. Notre Dame fans that act as if Notre Dame can do no wrong or Notre Dame is not comprised of people like anything else in life. I have a family. I have in my family, as much as I love them, some people you might perceive as bad apples left.
Yeah.
They've done some time. They've done some bad things to others, and they've done some bad things to family members. But they're still my family. And I still love them. So you can love Notre Dame as much as you want to. You can fight for Notre Dame as much as you want to, but please don't walk around with blinders on, feeling like there's no way that someone can actually say something about Notre Dame. Like every player that leaves Notre Dame and speaks about Notre Dame is not speaking from a place of sour grapes.
Right.
might actually be some truth, some hard truth in what they're saying. And you should appreciate, this is the thing. You should appreciate that they don't go into detail about what took place.
But Phil's still talking about this though. It's like, okay,
Phil, first of all, stop. Phil didn't talk about Notre Dame. He was asked the question and he said, I committed early to Notre Dame. That was the school he committed to. That's all he said. Y'all, y'all feelings because he said I committed to Notre Dame early. Man, y'all 30 and 40-year-old fans upset about a 20-year-old kid still having Notre Dame in his mouth. As if your boys didn't have to tell you to stop talking about the chick that broke up with you last week. That's what happens when you're 20 years old. You hold on to stuff. The heck out of here. I'm 30, 40 years old. My emotions are moved because a 20-year-old is being a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old. Get the heck out of here.
My only thing is,
and the truth of the matter is, because look, truth or dare, Malik, truth or not, do you have information that is explosive enough to be a black eye?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Concerning the Phil Jurkovec situation.
On field, but I mean,
I'm talking about on field and stuff that happened around the program.
Yeah. But it probably wouldn't.
Okay. So when you wanted to expose it, because you wanted to let it ride, that's how upset you were.
Only because I knew he wasn't going to be there. I mean, whatever. Yeah, for sure. Yes, at the time.
You were so upset the day you called me and came to me with the information. Did I not spend 15 minutes begging you, saying we can't do that, bro?
Yes.
We can't do that because there would be a bad look in Marcus Freeman's first year and a bad look for Notre Dame. Did I not say that?
Right.
I had to beg my co-host, dude, don't. I understand how you feel. I understand. You're right. It's wrong on so many levels. Everybody was like, what are you talking about, cultural appropriation? He was right. When he used the phrase, he was right with the things that happened. He was right. I begged this man, with the information he had from people and players, to corroborate. I had to beg him not to do it because it's that bad of a look. But y'all want to act like it's sour grapes. I tell you one thing. I tip my cap to Big Phil Jurkovec. Because if some of the things that took place that happened to my son, it might have been some slow singing and flower bringing, as Biggie said. So while you're sitting up there saying he needs to let it go, get on your knees and thank him for not exposing and giving in detail what really happened. I'll leave it at that. Be happy that if this is all you're getting from Phil Jurkovec, be happy that this is all you're getting from Phil Jurkovec. Because he could empty the clip if he wanted to. His parents could empty the clip if they wanted to. Malik Zaire could have emptied the clip. Matter of fact, he was ready to empty the clip. That's how disgusted he was as a former Notre Dame player. So everybody talking about, he's soft. Man, please. I guarantee you, if you knew what this man knew, you wouldn't look at him as being soft. That's what 20-year-olds do. They talk about stuff. They hold on to stuff. And as he gets older, he won't do it anymore. But the fact that he mentioned that he committed early to Notre Dame in an answer got everyone so up in arms. I'm starting to think that the fan base has the problem. Like, what's the problem? You're that upset about that answer and that response? Come on, man. Let's do better. Do better. Just do better. Good grief, man. The way people were acting, I thought he went in depth and was talking about stuff that happened at Notre Dame. The man just mentioned the school. I committed to Notre Dame early, and I probably should have just, stayed home and went to Pitt because Pitt has everything. Oh, my God. He's still mentioning us. Man, get over yourself. Get over yourself. It's a good chance. It's a good chance if you're a good dude. If you're a good dude in life or a good person, it's a good chance that the people you were connected to years ago, even though you've moved on, still talk about you.
Yeah.
It's a good chance. And Phil didn't blast the university. He was very specific in the interview he did with a Notre Dame reporter that asked for the interview leading up to the Boston College game last year. And he specifically said, I love Notre Dame, but certain people don't live up to the morals that Notre Dame lays out and portrays. Period. And he was right. And if you believe everybody in Notre Dame or connected to Notre Dame is just the greatest, no flaws, can't be a bad apple, then okay. That's the way you feel about your university. It's not realistic, but it is what it is. So you don't have to believe me. This dude that dude next to me has all of the evidence. Ain't nothing cap about Phil in this situation.
Phil just gotta stay healthy. So
that's it. His health was a problem at Notre Dame. His health was a problem at Boston College, and his health was a problem. It's probably going to continue to be a problem. Let's do that quarterback. Once you start getting injured like that, he's been injured everywhere.
Big injuries, he getting big injuries. So,
dude,
it's like Tyler. Shoot, Tyler has some pretty significant injuries. Hell, but if you keep getting opportunities, I mean, Phil's still getting great chances. It's not like he's got to go to like a.
You know why?
AIA school or
the dude has a cannon for an arm. He's big. And who wouldn't want to get mad? If he can stay on the field, he can produce.
He 100% looked the part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, dude, Notre Dame fans just, man, it's cool to be protective of your program, but y'all get mad about some of the y'all get mad over painted fingernails, start questioning character of people when you have no idea who they are. It's like, man, please. But then y'all will sit up here and act like that everyone in Notre Dame is pristine and perfect. All right. Okay. All right. Literally had a wide receiver coach recruiting for 3 years that will tell you flat out, we have no talent in the room. And will openly say it.
Yeah.
That's the type of bad apples that have been around. There were bad apples on the coaching staff that you played for, Left.
Yeah. It's definitely not going to be perfect.
But oh no, heaven forbid a player comes out and says something. Oh no, that could have never happened. There's no way. I had someone ask me, do I know what cultural appropriation is? I said, dude, don't offend me. Don't offend me. Don't do that. Just say you don't want to believe it. And that's fine. If you don't want to believe it, fine. Still doesn't change whether or not it happened.
That's true
That's
too.
it. That's it. And I applaud. I applaud the way he has handled it. And the way his pops has handled it on a lot of levels. As a parent, as a father, man. All right.
Yeah.
His father is the real G, like tip of the cap, sir. Because he's the one that really said, come on, son, we just gonna walk away. And what we're not gonna do, we're not gonna stoop to their level. And if you think some of the things that Phil Jurkovec has said is dirty, it's the tip of the iceberg for what he has the right to say. I'll leave it at that. He has the right to say worse. He would be well within his rights to say worse. And here we are as a fan base getting upset about the tip of the iceberg. That's really nothing. He hasn't even really said anything. Yeah, I committed to Notre Dame early. What do you want him to say? The school, okay, I committed to another school early. You would have felt better about that. No, you wouldn't have, because you would have took that as, oh, he doesn't even want to mention us now. He still has sour grapes. You just want to find something in the situation.
Yeah.
And bro, on that morning, I appreciate you trusting me enough to have a real conversation about it and kind of get you to understand where I was coming from. Because as a former player and other connections to it that you have, I fully understand why your emotions were where they were and why you felt like it needed to be spoken about. So I don't want you to ever feel like I wasn't acknowledging where you were with the situation.
Right.
I was just like, yo, I don't want, dude, we would be hurting the school. And this would be something, because if you say it, it's going viral. If you, that day, the way you felt, as emotionally charged as you were, had talked about it, oh, it would have been viral. And it would have gotten picked up. And it just, man, it wasn't worth it, man. It just wasn't worth it. So y'all, man, please, Notre Dame fans, let him do what he does as a 21-year-old, man. I get tired of these older people acting like, forgetting what the stupid stuff they did in their 20s. And all of a sudden want to tell 21-year-olds what they need to do and how they need to react to life. Like, man, get over yourself. Notre Dame ain't that perfect. They're not. And you can run to the message boards with that. I don't care, because I stand on it.
So you can run to the message.
I stand on it. You can run to the other shows. I don't care. I stand on it. Notre Dame is no different than any other place. There are bad apples. We go to the Athletic. Mike Tirico, former play-by-play guy for Notre Dame football. I think he called your Will Fuller touchdown in Texas against Texas, left.
It's a real one.
He said, if you ask me, and I quote, who are 4 or 5 people that you love to sit and have dinner with, whether he was my boss or not, Pete Bevacqua was on that list. This is Mike Tirico. Makes every table better, makes every room warmer, really has a great comfort around him that you're with Pete for an hour and you feel like you've been with him for days. He has a great ability to connect with people, to connect people together, and his ability to network is one of his greatest assets. He tells a story out in Arizona where Pete Bevacqua, as an exec for NBC, was at this golf tournament. The same golf tournament you were there. He was there when you were there at Waste Management, bro.
Oh,
You probably couldn't even. You probably walked by him
I didn't even
and
know.
didn't even know who he was. He says he's having a conversation with Rory McIlroy. And I quote, Rory's hanging on everything Pete's saying for 20 minutes. We're talking like the biggest name in sports right now. Pete's been in the room with them, if not at a negotiating table with many of them, to then deal with the commissioner of the league or sell athletic directors or university presidents in the ACC. Pete's going to feel right at the table without taking a back seat to anyone at the table. He's a grand slam hire. Those are the words of former Notre Dame play-by-play guy, Mike Tirico.
It's like, would you rather have $500 million of dinner with Jay-Z? Looks like people would take the dinner with Pete Bevacqua over the $500 million.
I mean, yo, Mike Tirico, he's well respected. That's it. He's well respected.
I mean, you know,
He's well respected. That's it.
Let's see how all of that helps defeat the narrative of good stewardship. Is because, you know, I like to put it like Coach Light, Hall of Famer. Shout out to Coach Todd Light. Came in, I'm thinking, oh, we're good at DB.
Mm-hmm.
First round, won a championship, went to the league, won a Super Bowl. Our DBs are going to be like how Deion Sanders got them. You know, you got and after year 2, they got him.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't. He just became, you know, just a coach on the staff trying to just follow what everybody else is doing. I'm like, where the secret technique? Wasn't using them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so is that going to be Pete Bevacqua coming in? Oh, this is the Denzel of, you know, it's the Denzel version of what we've been looking for as an athletic director. Just smooth, Obama-like. And then you go in there and you don't do nothing. You know what I mean? So I love that we have a great hype campaign trail. Guys would love to go get dinner with them. Seems like a good pick. But I think Notre Dame's been around doing the same thing for a long time. So can one man change that? I don't know.
Man, just producer of Sunday Night Football, Rob Hyland, you know, says, look, you know, he was a great exec for us, but just being around him, he couldn't go 5 minutes before he started talking about Notre Dame in the conversation. We all knew at some point he was going to have to return to Notre Dame in some capacity, even if it was strictly as a consultant.
I mean, he came back bigger than that.
Man, you know.
He just did the whole kit and caboodle, matter of fact.
And most people would consider the power he had as an exec in the rooms he worked in, that the Notre Dame job is somewhat of a step down in the eyes of some in the professional world. But really, what he has the ability to do because of his connections and the places. Dude, if he can do things under his watch that weren't done the previous 35 years.
How many shows you watch on NBC?
Pretty much Wednesday night, all the Chicago shows. No, that's CW. I was All American CW.
See, I ain't too many NBC shows.
And back in the day, I don't follow it anymore because it's like season 50 or something like that. I was an SVU fan, Law and Order SVU fan.
Yeah, what kind of, I don't know, man. I mean,
we'll see. Let me explain. No, it was not about exposing Notre Dame, because when you have a bad apple, it's really about the bad apple.
Yeah, it was
individual.
Yeah.
But that individual represents Notre Dame
a lot.
So it wasn't worth it, in my opinion. It wasn't worth it for us, and at the place we were trying to grow, it just wasn't worth it. And I don't regret making that decision. Because it definitely would have probably been the highest viewed show we ever did. But
it definitely makes it, individual can make your experience of the place rotten in a sense, where you just frame it as the Notre Dame experience. It wasn't necessarily a Notre Dame experience. It was just the one person at Notre Dame that made it.
But dude, in the same interview, he said, before he went to talking about the cultural appropriation, he said Notre Dame is a fantastic place with a lot of good people. That's what he said. And then he went to individuals. And people just, took it as, he's talking about Notre Dame. He's not talking about Notre Dame, man. Let him get it out. By the time he reaches 25, that upper part of the brain that needs to develop.
Or when he sees some success on the field, he's going to get over it.
He'll get over it.
Right now, he ain't on top right now. So
I still say.
Yeah, you're looking at everything of the problem. It was because of this.
Absolutely.
It was because of it. But as soon as he's, throw a couple touchdowns and Pitt, they start buzzing about him, Forget Notre Dame.
It's like being in a relationship with somebody and you break up with them, and then you just hope the secrets they know about you stay between you and them. And out of bitterness, they don't start leaking certain information that everyone else that knew the both of you had no clue about. It becomes uncomfortable for a little bit. But that's it. No, that was it. We continue with the conversation about Pete Bevacqua. The business side, Left, I'm very encouraged. In this article, man, that Pete Sampson put together in The Athletic is absolutely amazing, man.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great work, great research. Getting Tirico, getting a Rob Highland, getting quotes, people that are around him, people that can really give you a nice foreshadowing of what's coming into play as a personality. He's a little bit swaggier to me. He brings a little swag to match Marcus Freeman in the ADC. This is a guy that was a walk-on punter for Lou Holtz in 93. And he just brings, when you watch him, you see video. Go watch the interview he did with Jack Swarbrick. I believe it was on YouTube. He's just a little bit swaggier. He's just a little bit swaggier, man. He is. And that that's the perfect match. I think what we've seen with Marcus Freeman and Jack, you mentioned it. Jack, I think in his hires, saw where things needed to move for Notre Dame in certain aspects. I truly believe that. He was comfortable enough to make those decisions. I think he also sees there are other things that need to take place because of his principles that he's not comfortable being the leader to usher that in and having that on his resume. So he goes to get someone younger, someone fresher, someone just as smart, if not smarter, with the connections that can truly cause that to be a success or to become a strength and success for Notre Dame moving into the future. So that's.
Or you could look at it as he made the decision not wanting to take the run on his career because he was on his way out. He's like, I'm gonna take this chance because I'm gonna be done pretty soon. So if it don't work, well, hell, at least I get the credit of trying something on the way out.
Right.
I think it's a good opportunity for Pete Bevacqua to pick up on a good opportunity as well and nurture the relationship. I think it's still a great hire, great future program builder, because not every coach you hire is a future program builder. But I think the three that Notre Dame's hired in the last 5 years or so are three great program builders. You got Shrewsbury, you got Coach Ivy, and Marcus Freeman, who's been putting in the work. So I think if you can back that up with some resources, maybe a collective, maybe you have one of them nice fancy steak dinners, give a little Saban routine speech on how important that winning at Notre Dame is good stewardship. Because winning cures all. It's going to bring in the dollars.
So what you're saying, the biggest thing on his resume is going to be the ability to win.
Pete should go in there with the identity of changing the green from money back to the Irish green. Put the Irish green back first. And the money green going to come behind it.
Yeah.
But when the money green's in front, the Irish green plays to the background too much. You start sacrificing more things because the Irish green ain't the first green you're thinking of.
Yeah.
So if Pete can put the Irish green back on Front Street with the emphasis of it being a winning culture, tradition but winning, which means you empty the piggy bank a little bit more.
Yes.
Open up them pockets a little bit more because it goes to winning. I think you'll see a big acceleration of commitment, but also program success across the board. But that Irish green has got to be stronger.
Yeah.
Than that money green. The money green,
Yeah.
It don't always go to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because David Lowe, thanks for tapping in. And I see you, Jacob Foreman. We're going to get to your comment and question and give a respectable answer to that momentarily. New guy needs to have an elite NIL program in the story. We talked about this, David. This is where I push back. Notre Dame doesn't need to match Georgia and Alabama to win. They just need to do more.
Yeah, we need to do more.
That's it. You can't. Notre Dame, it makes no sense for Notre Dame to do what Georgia and Alabama are doing. It makes no sense because in some way you will have to stretch your principles a little bit too much to do what they do.
Yeah, they don't have
and all of that is part of the brand, the principles, the morals, the perception. All of that's part of the brand and what makes Notre Dame great.
That Notre Dame don't want.
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of dirty stories that Georgia and Alabama got going this route that Notre Dame don't want no part of that.
Notre Dame won the national championship and I remember there was a story. This was before social media. It's a print story about some key players went on a vacation to Hawaii with interns and people that worked in the athletic office. And it was like blown up, like nothing happened. No one died. Maybe some
We give
relationships
ourselves,
existed.
we give
Maybe a
ourselves.
relationship or two existed, but it just blew up to this big story. And I remember Lou Holtz having to talk about it, having to deal with the players when they came back. And when you look back at it, it was men and women deciding to go take a trip. Who cares what happened on the trip from an intimate standpoint? It was, dude, but that's.
We do it to ourselves. I mean, look, we pick up investigations on our own selves.
Yeah, man.
It's like, bro, it's cool. Like you know, it's no big deal. They like, no. We have to punish ourselves.
Yes.
Draw this out.
And if those players were like, here in 2023, they would have been on their own IG posting pictures and everything. Like it was nothing. But it was a huge deal. Why? Because the national media is like, oh, Notre Dame is supposed to be about this, and their players are in Hawaii with this girl and that girl. It's like, they're kids. What? Okay, well, they just won a national championship. I mean, what are they supposed to do?
It ain't like we Brian Kelly and what he got going down there at that brothel with the
down at LSU.
With the desk lady, with the coaches. Oh, good grief!
Running petty trains.
You supposed to be watching film out there, coaches.
Man, you're supposed to be, dude. You're supposed to be taking care of tickets and helping out the families and making sure they get situated.
Be working.
Yeah,
you won't be working in the building. What you in there?
She was putting in work.
Yeah, and Coach Kelly, what you doing? You don't know what's going on? Winningest coach of all time. You know, he acted like it's Cincinnati out there already. You can't wait.
Look.
Coach Kelly know what he's doing out there. He said, I had to leave to get the $100 million in the honeys.
Yeah. I gave the comp from a baseball standpoint. By the way, did you peep game 1 of the series last night left? I told you what the Dodgers were about to do to my White Sox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's part 1. Part 2 it might get worse tonight. Let me see. I think Dylan Cease is on the mound tonight. It won't be as bad. We have a chance to stay close. Still, I think we still get swept though. If we get out of there with 1 win, I would shout, literally. But to continue to give the comp or reiterate the comp I gave when it comes to Notre Dame NIL, they don't have to match Georgia and Alabama. They just have to be the San Diego Padres. And when the San Diego Padres got new ownership, they said, look, we have to spend. It might not even get us close or put us on the same level with the Giants, put us on the same level with the Dodgers. But if we don't spend, we have no shot.
See, Notre Dame players got to get smart. They got to open up their own nonprofits, the good old Catholic way. Open up your nonprofit and get donations.
Yeah.
Good stewardship with that way. That's the NIL way. You know what I mean? That's how you gotta spin it. The NIL. You gotta go ahead, file you a 501c. You know, do all the paperwork and the nonprofit. Get your business account set up. You know, get you a board of directors. You know, that get you a little. You know, it can be your teammates. Your teammates be your board of directors or whatever, but. Now you can go, hey, Notre Dame, you should donate to the nonprofit feed the blind and homeless children for the NIL deal. Drop 50 bands in there, you know, and do a couple of events. That shit Brady Quinn trying to do it. He trying to do it. But if you want NIL, you gotta do it the business way, you know, the good steward way.
Mm-hmm.
Nonprofit. The donations going. That's what they'll donate to. Tax write-offs. Get you some tax credits. You know what I'm saying? We can't just give you the duffel. The duffel gotta be filed and tax approved and endowed.
Yeah.
You gotta have Notre Dame the type to be like, okay, we give you 100,000, but after you graduate, one of them things. we give you, you know. You say you in $1 million? Yeah, we give you $1 million. Just in a trust fund after you graduate, get a 3.5, do 800 hours of community service, win a national championship. Then you can get it. That's how Notre Dame would do one of them NIL deals, you know.
Yeah.
They treat you like Ghost did Tariq. You know, Tariq got to finish school, man. It's so hard for him to finish school. He want to do everything else.
He wants no part of school, bro. When I tell you that cat Tariq St. Patrick wants no part of school, it's like, man, bro, what? Man, I would have gone through that school, kept quiet. I was like, all I have to do is 4 years.
Just chill.
For this trust money, man, I'm good. It's amazing. It really is. And we talk about this NIL situation. You know, I'm sure the first reaction is, oh man, we have to compete with Alabama and Georgia. We don't have to compete. Notre Dame doesn't need to get to 20, 18, 5 stars and 4 stars. Notre Dame can just get to 8.
Yeah, we don't need that many, no.
No.
We got good coaching and
starting at the quarterback position.
Yeah, you just need the right positions to be.
That's it.
We don't need to lead the whole mass. We just need one true believer.
Yeah.
We just need one true believer. We don't want all of you. We ain't trying to get all of you. But if we get one guy.
And then when you got Nick Saban getting in front of the alumni begging for money, like we don't have enough. What?
And they like, word, you got all them rings on your fingers. You ain't got enough. Just dig in my
How do you compete with that?
Oh, we need to compete. What? You got them things be shining up there on his hands. He said, we don't have enough money, but look at all these rings.
Right.
Look at all these rings. We need some more. They just said, what? Now, the benefits are they don't got no pro team in Alabama. Maybe it's something the NBA put the expansion city in, you know. Help college football out, even it out a little bit. Give them another fan base. Divide the Alabama fan base up a little bit. They just got too much college football focus. So all the money and all the attention going there. Drop an NBA team out there or something in Huntsville. Call them the Huntsville Badgers or something. You know, divide that attention and bread up a little bit. The fans got something more to go to. Because, you know, Justin Scott looking at Miami like, man, y'all don't even fill up the stadium. It's too much things going on out here.
Facts.
It's too – I'm a 5-star D lineman. I want to have a sack celebration, the crowd go crazy, and have the crowd at the club, have the crowd at the beach, you know. We got to divide that Alabama attention up.
Problem. Doma Wop says, man, I got some people that can help out with that. The problem is, Doma Wop, we believe you.
Yeah,
we believe that alums like you will get on board. Unfortunately, you have to send the money to people that control it once it gets on campus. Now, if you can send it directly to the recruits somehow, some way, man.
Cash injection.
Man. And I believe Doma Wop is in the Chicago area. Hey, if you had a direct connect to Justin Scott, hey, and it was all legal, NIL, ND setup,
you gotta open up.
Beautiful. That it never had to be connected to the school, and legally it's not supposed to be connected to the school. But like I said, we have head coaches. Literally, we have head coaches going before their alums and begging, and their boosters like, we need more money.
You talking
Ryan Day just did it. Ryan Day's like, I need a quarterback. We're gonna lose the. Now I understand because Dylan Raiola was committed. Ryan Day went to the people and said, man, the price of a quarterback is going up. We're gonna need a little bit more. A month later, I think Dylan Raiola decommitted. Oh, these coaches are watching the market and how everything is going. And Notre Dame just has to, man, just get in the fight, dude. That's all. Just get in it. Somehow, some way. Just get in the fight. Because right now, man, we're looking like the Oakland A's out here in these NIL streets.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Numbers.
They're actually, man, the Oakland A's are actually on a 7-game winning streak, though. Even though they still suck. We're talking NIL, right? Check this out. Manchin and Tuberville, Tommy Tuberville, former head coach in Auburn, they're putting together legislation for NIL. Now, you're going to love this, Left. This is from Darren Heitner on Twitter, who is a writer and teaches on NIL at UF Law and at Miami Law School. Word is that a new NIL bill written by Manchin and Tommy Tuberville will prohibit athletes from signing deals until they have completed a minimum of 1 semester in college. Left. See, I'm all for legislation if it makes sense. Left, make this make sense to me, bro. Please make this.
You
make this make sense to me. This is what, dude.
Until you complete 3 years of college, then you can go to the league. Like, it's the same type of unnecessary legislation. Because what is it? Who does it benefit?
So basically, what they're trying to hide. This is what they're trying to hide, love. Without saying it, they're saying you have to play a full season for us.
Yeah, free.
Because the first semester ends at the end of the football season.
Free of charge. We need a free season.
Yeah, they're trying to make it real slick, Left. Like you have to complete a full semester. You're asking them to play 1 year
for free
without NIL money. That's what you're asking them. So you're taking it out of recruiting. You want them to play 1 full year, which some of them might redshirt. So coming out of the redshirt year, what are they going to have to present to any company for NIL? So basically, you're trying to get off free.
It'll mess up a lot, though. It'll mess up a lot. You can't just throw 100,000 at it,
dude.
You can't.
This is the dumbest thing.
It's dastardly because now you can't just give Justin Scott 100,000 to come to Georgia. You can't. You got to be like, Justin Scott, I give you 100,000 in your second year. He'd be like, damn, well, Athens is hot as hell all year round. And the season is kind of long to be waiting for 100,000. Anything can happen, too. You could just get somebody else or whatever. But Notre Dame, that 4 for 40 sound a lot better. So maybe it does curb a lot of the duffel shuffle. Because now you got to make promises. Like Texas A&M got to really make promises 2 years out now, and that's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do for kids that like want the bread right now, So, the NCAA always finds ways. When you think you got it, you don't got it.
No,
got it. Until we join a new NCAA, you know what I mean? Figure out something else. But until then, that's a stab in the heart of the Wild Wild West right there.
There's no way this gets passed, bro.
Quick stab.
No way. There's no way this gets passed. Like you try to speak about this from the side of a semester. Dude, 1 semester is 1 free year of football for a kid.
It could mean a lot in recruiting, though. Because is Nico going to Tennessee if he don't get the $8 million the first year?
Probably. The argument is going to be how can you stop a young man
from making the bread,
from making a deal with the school because the rule is NIL is not directly connected to the school. So how do you put in legislation to stop a young man from brokering a deal
as an individual?
As an individual. How do you legislate that in college?
They probably say you can't have both. You can't have a deal and then sign with a school or something crazy. You know, they're going to find a way.
It's crazy. And I'm not happy with the current landscape of NIL. We debate about this. I feel like, man, at least sign on the dotted line and show some type of commitment, right? Allow kids to sign earlier than December, in the summer when they commit. Anything. I'm all for commitment being connected to NIL rather than kids using it, going about these official visits saying this school is giving me this school is giving me that. Look, man, if that's what you're doing and that's how you want to handle it, fine. To each his own. But it's going to start getting ridiculous. And the coaches are telling you that the price of yesterday's price is not today's price when it comes to NIL and the prominent positions. It's not. It's going to continue to get worse. It's going to continue to get worse, man. You're going to see more and more decommitments that have absolutely nothing to do with fit, scheme, coaches.
It's promises. That's what it is.
It has absolutely nothing to do with that, right? Like you said, how much money did Bryce have in pocket before he ever took a snap at Alabama?
Yeah, the meal.
A cool meal.
It's a good investment. Paid off. Got a Heisman. First round pick. First pick of the draft. Shit.
And Bryce handled himself quite well with the million.
I mean, you in a nice position as well. You watching. You got a Heisman receiver. You got.
But I'm saying some people.
Ooh.
We're going to talk about on the petty train. We're going to talk about somebody that got the fame and started acting like a fool. Because everybody just doesn't handle the fame correctly.
Yes, you're right.
He got the fame, he got the money, and he wasn't even playing. And he handled himself quite well. That has to be applauded. Nico,
that's a good dude.
Nico is going to be on the sideline behind Joe Milton with $8 million in the pocket.
Damn.
I pray he doesn't act the fool.
He probably doing Zion.
He's stupid.
He the richest man on campus.
Man.
On campus. As a freshman. Young, richest man as a freshman on the campus of Tennessee.
Man, that dude walking in with Kanye blasting. You can't tell me nothing.
I'm sitting in the teacher's chair. What? Pay your salary right now.
Thank you, Doma Watt, for doing some more digging. He said, here's another provision of the bill, the creation of a registry for transparency in NIL deals. What? So now every NIL deal has to come across with all the details before it gets, man, get the heck out of here. That's right. Can we have transparency on athletic department's expenses? You're darn right.
No, they even get exposed on that too. Exposed.
You're darn right.
If somebody audited Notre Dame's books for that, man, what? It'd be bad business.
And see, Cajun Irish, that's perception, right? Because we have to wait and let it play out. Is it stupid on Tennessee's part? Because once he got connected to the program, their recruiting took off.
Yeah.
See, that's recruiting. You get a big time quarterback, your recruiting takes off. So Josh Heupel, he gave him the bag up front. And now they're reaping the harvest. And they backed it up with a good season. We'll see, man. Yeah, we'll see. Lucky Lefty podcast. I wanted to get this comment from Jacob Foreman. He said, thank you for joining. He said, Phil claimed playing should. Now, this is something he put on his IG post, I believe. Shipping up to Boston was cultural appropriation. I believe that's a song that's played at Notre Dame or whatever, which makes no sense. Cultural appropriation is when you steal culture in a demeaning way. Well, cultural appropriation is not only when you steal culture. Heck, and there are people that do podcasts that I think are cultural appropriates. I think
Hell,
DJ, I think Vlad is a culture vulture.
black people are culture vultures on these Greek numbers or letters they be following and all them. You ain't no Omega.
All that. Thank you, bro.
That's cultural appropriation.
It's like just people are so stuck on what happened with the mascots around sports. They feel like that's the only thing about cultural appropriation. I've never heard this song ship up to Boston, right?
Who even?
But Phil Jurkovec is from Boston, Massachusetts, and the area. If that is a regional song written from that region, about that region, just because you're Irish in the Midwest, it does not make it a song that you can rock to and represent. Just like I can't take a West Coast song, bring it to Chicago, and then try to rep Chicago with that West Coast song from West Coast rap. That would be misappropriation of the culture. I can't take red headbands and the sea walk and blue headbands and bring it to Chicago and start doing it around Chicago without cultural appropriation. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to me.
That's right.
Cultural appropriation can also come from the things that we say and how we perceive other people. There's a lot of different areas of cultural appropriation, man. I had somebody send me something on Twitter like, you don't understand cultural appropriation. No, I fully understand it. You only see it through one lens. And that's why you're trying to protect what took place, because you only see it through one lens. Like I said, I've never heard the song Shipping Up to Boston. I guess it's played at Notre Dame. Notre Dame will grab anything that's Irish.
Does it say the N-word or something?
I don't know. But my point is Notre Dame will grab anything that's Irish. If Wisconsin didn't do it, if it wasn't a staple for Wisconsin, they would play Jump Around. Because it was a Boston hip-hop band that did Jump Around. But Wisconsin has been doing it. Yeah, Wisconsin has been doing it for like the past 20 years, and it's a staple, so they can't. But if they could, they would. Because Notre Dame grabs everything Irish, connects everything Irish, and they just do it. Why? Because we're Notre Dame. They do.
I mean, the leprechaun is appropriated because, you know, there's a history behind it.
No, wait. See? I didn't even want to get into that left because everybody's cool with that. Everybody's cool with the leprechaun. Everybody's cool with the leprechaun. Don't touch. Notre Dame's perfect, left. Notre Dame's perfect. Notre Dame's perfect.
Hockey was appropriated. I mean, we clearly copy each other. Everybody's copying somebody and using their perspective of it in their own way. Some more negative than the others, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some more misunderstood than others. So,
thank you, Dion Carter. Said Notre Dame only plays the intro to Shipping Up to Boston, and I still don't know what the intro is. I don't know. But from him being a Boston kid and coming from that culture, if he's speaking about it, he knows more about the culture and the background of it than Notre Dame fans. Like when people talk, if I go to Atlanta and people are trying to explain to me the lyrics of Crucial Conflict.
I don't know that one.
Crucial Conflict was they made the song Hey in the middle of the bar.
Oh, okay.
Right? They also made another popular song called Rodeo back in the day. Right? They did a lot of songs with Kels. Hey was huge. Hey it's still a huge song if you play it. Cats would hear it in the club and be like, oh, yo, that's the joint. But that is Chicago's version of the Chronic. All right? It's the same, it's a similar conversation, but it's Chicago owning its piece of that conversation. You know, so appropriation, man, I please don't go any further on that leprechaun, bro. Because there were a lot of people within, I know this for a fact, there are a lot of people worried on that campus when the Indians were getting hit hard, they're not a Guardians, when Washington, the Commanders were getting hit hard and eventually had to change and these groups were coming after. This, you want to talk about power? You want to talk about power? Because it takes power. Them groups wanted no parts of Notre Dame. None. The same groups that went after professional teams and their owners wanted no parts of Notre Dame. None.
No. They know better.
None. They were like, no, we don't want that fight. Daniel Snyder, oh yeah, we can smack him around.
Yeah.
You know, owners of Cleveland, we can smack them around. What about Notre Dame?
We can't take on them good stewards.
We're not messing around with them.
Them good stewards, man. They ain't no.
Man.
They cool.
You know, and people will be up in arms if they took away the leprechaun. Man, they would go ballistic, bro.
Yeah, you couldn't do that.
Oh, thank you. I was upset, bro. I grew up, and this is me not knowing. Like, my favorite college basketball team growing up was the Fighting Illini. 89 squad was my favorite squad, dude. The Flying Illini. Kendall Gill, Kenny Battle, Lowell Hamilton, Stephen Bardo. That's my squad. That was my squad. There's nothing you can tell me about that squad. They didn't win a chip, but they were the greatest team I ever saw.
Yeah.
It's my squad. At halftime, they would show, they had a mascot called Chief Illiniwek. He would come out in full guard. And the person that was doing it was always Caucasian. Cultural appropriation. Because that person has no connection to that tribe, to the customs, or what they're dancing to, or why they're dancing to it. It was total cultural appropriation.
Could have been 3%.
But look, when I was a student left, man, I remember I bought a champion hoodie with the big Chief Illiniwek on the front. It was fresh. And I had somebody ask me if I was going to draw a black marker X through the Chief. And I said, what? I just spent $100 in the bookstore for this. I'm not Xing out the Chief. Now, we can talk about the cultural appropriation and all of that, but I'm not messing up my clothes. I would rather take it back to the store and not wear it than to just mess up. I'm not doing that.
I'm just waiting for the day.
And my whole thing is, when you get to this whole thing, man, they ended his halftime dance, which used to be fun for me to watch because I was like, yo, that's a dope little it's a dope little dance he does.
A dope little cultural appropriation right here.
Yeah. But like, dude, when I started watching, 89, bro, I was like a teenager. Yeah, I was like 12. I I had no real understanding of cultural appropriation. But by the time I got there as a student, years later, I came to understand what was popping about the situation. And I got on board. I just wasn't about to mess up my sweatshirt. Like I can understand without messing up my sweatshirt. I don't have to do that. I get the point. I'm on board.
Burning the jerseys.
No. Like what else do we need to do to make a move on this and make things happen? So look, it is, man, it's one of those things, man. And it's so easy to do something and really not have, I mean, I don't think people have ill intent the majority of the time that they enter into cultural appropriation. I don't. Some people do, but it's easy to enter into appropriation and you really didn't mean harm. You really was just trying to benefit from it. You were trying to be a capitalist business.
What's the benefit of a cultural appropriatist?
Most of them trying to make money.
I don't see a benefit in it though.
See, Daniel Snyder was all about the money because he knew the power of the nickname and what it meant for generations. That was money. You lose money when you have to rebuild a brand and rebuild a nickname. That's losing money. I know exactly why Daniel Snyder was pushing back. He had 5 generations of these fans.
Naming the team the Redskins? He wasn't thinking if I name the Redskins, I'm going to make way more than the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I guarantee you there were 2 generations of fans that was just like, I'm not wearing a Commanders jersey. I grew up a fan.
How did they start wearing the pig costumes at the Reds? Like, they was
because they had the offensive line that were called the Hogs. Joe Jacoby, Russ Grimm. They had like 300 back. This is before offensive lines became. They had 5 dudes that were over 300 pounds. That was unheard of in the 80s.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
That was unheard of. And they had John Riggins at 260 in the backfield. Think about that.
That right now would be crazy.
That's like the norm right now. That's like Derrick Henry in back of the Titans, bro.
The Titans had no 300 across the board. 300 across the board?
I think most offensive linemen are 300 across the board right now.
Oh, as a tight end, he's nowhere close to 290. Nowhere close.
No, Joe ought to be 300 this year.
Really?
Yeah, he was like 295 last year, wasn't he? Left?
Oh, hold on, let me see. Because he looks like a thinner lineman,
he's definitely, but he holds his weight differently.
Like Ronnie wasn't 300.
What was
Mike McGlinchey wasn't 300. Mike was like,
I wonder if Mike is 300 now.
Let me see. Probably because he old, he older now. Hold on. Yeah, he's like 291. Yeah, guys ain't. That's what I'm saying. 300. Everybody, 300 is a huge line.
Absolutely.
Huge.
And we're talking about the 80s, bro. This is like 84. You had 300, dude. That's why they were called the Hogs, bro.
Damn,
this dude, they just lined up and said, we are about to run. And we got 260 in the backfield.
Damn.
Man. It is what it is, But it takes, you have to be willing to listen to really understand the depths and all of the branches of this cultural appropriation, dude. That's it. You have to be willing to listen and understand the depths of things that can be said and done that represent cultural appropriation. It is what it is. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Left, when we get to the next side, I want to talk about something that we brought up yesterday. I want to see what you have to say about it. How important is it that Notre Dame is moving in a different direction with its quarterbacks? We'll talk about it next. Lucky Lefty podcast. We broke down the film of Blake Hebert yesterday on the Lucky Lefty podcast. 25 quarterback, 6'4", 210, out of the Massachusetts area. And the one thing that jumped out to us is, you know what? Is a big kid. A far departure from quarterbacks that we've seen previously, recruited to Notre Dame and committing to Notre Dame. Why is that important going into 2023, 24, and 25 for the University of Notre Dame? Why is that important with Gino Guidugli now as the quarterback coach? No one to tell us or can tell us any better than Left himself. Left, why was this the first thing that jumped out at you?
I think a lot of it is just because the size, I think, matters from what you want to accomplish. Maybe it's the more vertical passing game. You saw our guy yesterday who was just bombs away. Deep threat outside, inside verticals, scramble, throwing the ball late down the field. So having a bigger size quarterback, I think it gives you a little bit of an intimidation factor. Doesn't necessarily mean you're the best quarterback room, but they have success coaching bigger quarterbacks. And I think that's going to benefit guys like CJ Carr, guys like Kenny Minchie, who's, like I told you, I thought he was bigger than what I had thought about Dante. He's bigger than Dante.
Uh-huh.
So Gino Guidugli's a pretty sizable guy. So I think that it definitely is funny when you think about who's your quarterback coach and they recruit guys that are like them, essentially. Tommy recruited smaller, punier guys like Tommy himself, and you can naturally coach guys that you can see yourself, playing as. And I think that's why you had a connection with certain guys. But Gino Guidugli going after these bigger guys, I just think it just gives us more of a advantage in the run game, more advantage over the middle of the field and outside. It's some good scouting. It doesn't mean you'll have the best quarterback. I mean, Bryce Young won the Heisman, so Caleb Williams isn't the tallest guy in the world, but pretty sturdy guy. But the way we're doing it, I mean, we're going to be a more intimidating team across the board for sure.
I agree with that. And I think you see the change in the type of quarterback, the change in the type of running back that's being recruited. We talked about that. Chancey Stuckey upgrading, in my opinion, the length and ability and speed at the at the wide receiver position, right? Joe Rudolph coming in and preferring a certain type of offensive lineman. Maybe a little bit more streamlined, where Harry Heastan prefers more powerful dudes on the offensive line. It's all about preference, man.
Yeah.
It's all about preference. Al Washington, making the move and saying, look, I can keep recruiting these same guys that we've always recruited, but I need to go get some beef in the middle. And he gets the 300-pounder in the 25 class out of Miami. And then he follows that up from the Florida area once again in the 24 class, getting Shaun Sibiliano over 300 pounds. And people are like, oh, man, they're not athletic. Yeah, but there's something that Notre Dame has not had on the defensive line since Big Lou.
Yeah.
Like, who was the last? I mean, Jerry Tillery was a good defensive tackle, but he wasn't that body type.
He wasn't the body type.
No, he wasn't controlling two guys. There has been identification with this coaching staff of things that they have not had on the roster that might be the key to the defense taking the next step to the championship level, and the offense taking the next step to the championship level. The one constant has been the offensive line. Even you were watching Carter Nelson's film like, yo, I can't really tell anything by watching his film. I mean, what he plays 8-on-8 in high school, like,
it's an interesting grab though, but it might turn out to be like Peyton Hillis.
Shout out to Peyton Hillis, man. Him being healthy. Hearing his story on GMA the other morning, bro, where he said he was swimming to save his niece and his son, and in order to save his niece, he had to swim past his son and save her first. Bro, think about the left. This man said, in order to save them both, I had to swim past my son who was in distress and drowning. Get my niece, turn around, come back and get my son, praying, hoping
he can hold on.
He can hold on.
Ooh!
Let me tell you something. That's a good man, boy.
Don't even answer it.
That's a good man. That's
don't even answer it.
Hey. That's an angel, boy. That's an angel. Because, left.
No.
All jokes aside, I might have. Look, me and my sister and my brother would have just had to have a talk, bro.
Yeah, we just.
That would have been a tough phone call when I get back to shore. Like, man,
as I'm drying my son off with the towel,
right? Like, man, yo, like this man was in a coma for weeks. Like, he exerted so much to get them both out of that tide, that swing, that rip tide. When he stood up and walked on shore, he collapsed, bro, and was in a coma for weeks.
Man, because you had so much panic, man, the split decisions, the adrenaline, you probably was like, just your mind, probably you outer body experience what you swam past your son. It was like your mind couldn't even understand. It's like, what are you doing?
And left, man, all jokes aside, he made the right decision. He made the right decision.
Tough decision.
It was the right decision.
Right or wrong?
No, left. It's the right decision, bro. It's the right decision because it's the right decision, bro. It really is, in my opinion.
Right decision.
Because he would never, he would have never been able to live that down. That would have stayed with him for the rest of his life, bro.
He could have
absolutely
possible deniability. I couldn't have got there.
He would have been lying. Because he knew he was physically capable. Now, was he mentally capable to swim past his son?
That's the battle.
He was physically capable of doing it, and he knew it. He just had to trust. And then he had to trust that his son was a better swimmer or a little bit stronger than his niece, his younger niece. Like, he's calculating all of this. Hey, man. And some people like,
hey, man, listen. You're a good dude.
Oh, man.
You're a real good dude.
Tip of the cap to you, man. You deserve that Madden cover now. They need to give you another one.
You deserve it before. You deserve it now.
Absolutely. He definitely used up a lot of adrenaline to make that swim. A lot of people showing love to Maria's ice cream truck today, bro.
That banana split was A1, man.
See, and Maria knows what she's doing. When you're a truck like that, you can't come around all the time. People get used to it.
That's right. I had to ask her, when do you come back? She said,
Yeah, see? Maria's smart. See, Maria's gonna go to the other side of town for like
other side of Texas, totally out the way. I'm not
totally out the way. Absolutely. Absolutely. She probably has 4 quadrants she operates in on a weekly basis. Like, you'll see her next month. You'll see her once.
It's been about a week and a half. I'm like, all right now. You just not be coming around. What's going on? You busy? You good?
Man, shoot, Maria's smart. She's a smart businesswoman, boy. She understands. She
gonna go all the way
understands.
across town, really? You gonna be going?
Man. Hey, she understands. I give it to her. She is a smart businesswoman. But yeah, moving forward, man, I think I really enjoy what the coaching staff is doing and how they're approaching everything. And I think one of the best things we can recognize is, like we said, these are some of the cracks that were left by the previous coaching staff, specifically in the recruiting area. It was just like, yo, we have a little bit more problems than we thought. The next time they said you got to get Maria on the show, bro. This would be dope. I come out there, we do a live show, and Maria pulls up
on
the lot.
Yeah.
And we both come back with banana splits.
But you gotta catch it the right side of town, though.
Yeah, we have to find out her route. Like, yo, what's good with the route? Lefty podcast. Good show today, Left. We talked about a lot of things, man. We talked about the uproar with Phil Jurkovec, which I think we're overreacting, bro. I'm not saying that the kid doesn't have room to grow or doesn't need to grow up. But good Lord, that's what 20-year-olds do. They hold on to stuff, man. We talked about People of Aqua. I'm loving it. I'm loving the hire. And when Mike Tirico says it's a grand slam hire, and when other execs that worked with him say, yo, he couldn't go 5 minutes without inserting Notre Dame into the conversation. I'm like, okay.
I mean, all right,
I'm like, all right.
All right, it sounds good.
I'm just saying, hey, that's all you can go on is what it sounds like.
I don't think we make bad hires. Let's put it like that. I don't think we bring in too many guys.
I think Jack Swarbrick was a great hire for the time.
For the time, right. For the time. We make some good decisions.
I don't necessarily believe that Jack Swarbrick was the right guy going into the future for Notre Dame. And he was not the right match with the coach we had.
Right. So you start writing people's scripts now. I can't get over that. Hey, brother, I know you're going in there for your weekly meeting, but add these to your notes. Just say it word for word. I can only imagine he looking at this like, I ain't reading this. You got to be crazy. I ain't saying all of this now. Probably. And Jack Schwarber is the greatest AD of all college football.
Oh, dude.
I ain't saying all this. I'll help you out, though.
You are crazy. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. I don't think you got the rant that I played. Did you get the rant that I played yesterday, Love? I think you left the show right before I played that rant with this host on the Fan in New York and Ralph. It's well worth to hear if you would like to hear it.
Okay.
Right? Would you rather hear Justin Jones of the Chicago Bears dissing the Packers, or would you rather, and Packers fans, or would you rather hear this rant? The rant is for those of you that missed last night's show, this is one of the most epic rants ever. Let's get to it. This is, once again, host Danielle McCartan on the Fan in New York. The caller calls in talking about the New York Mets, and this ensues.
Ralph in Lakewood, New Jersey. You're up here, Ralph. Hi, Danielle. I'm sorry, what's going on is pathetic, okay? Because when the Mets signed Scherzer and signed Verlander, every single radio host was psyched, okay?
Me too,
All of a sudden, now that they're not performing, we expect the general managers to be prophets and to know what's going on. They sat there at the time, they studied it, and they made a decision that this pitcher is the best move to sign right now.
Mm-hmm.
If the pitchers are not performing, it's not on the general managers. They're not prophets. Let's say right now, let's say in the NBA, this guy, Wembayama, is a bust. Are you going to say, the Spurs general manager is a disaster? No, the guy didn't perform. Like, it's so easy to be a talk show host looking back at what's going on and rip them. If J.D. Martinez would be doing horrible now, you wouldn't have said, oh, the Mets should have signed him. It's only because he's doing good. You could sit there and say, oh, the Mets should have signed him. What are you bringing to the radio right now? You're looking at stats and yelling what they should have done? What, they're not prophets? It's pathetic, Danielle. Come on. He made it. You were psyched when the Mets signed Scherzer. You were psyched. You were going crazy. You were excited. Why is Billy Epler getting destroyed right now? How's he supposed to know the guy's going to be a bust? Prophets. All of a sudden, general managers are supposed to know the future. Let me give the guy some slack. Trust me, I'm a Yankee fan. I love that the Mets are crashing and burning. But I can't hear it. I can't hear it, Danielle.
You ready, Ralph, for the response?
I'm ready.
Then my question to you is, how at the time could I have projected J.D. Martinez to be a valuable piece of a lineup, and the Mets, with all of their information, did not? And Billy Epler, with all of his information, did not.
What do you mean? You wanted J.D. Martinez?
Yeah, Ralph, I did, yeah. He was my number one target,
okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So you were right over there. Fine, very good.
So what do I bring to the radio here, Ralph? I bring actually, analysis. I don't bring any fandom to the radio. I've got a lot of good qualities, if you haven't noticed.
I'm not saying you're bad, but you're looking fine. J.D. Martinez is your guy. So
yes.
Billy Epler didn't sign J.D. Martinez.
Yes,
fine.
that's a problem.
1-0 yours.
No, Ralph, here's the problem. Right now, J.D. Martinez would have the second most home runs on this team, only behind Alonso. And right now, J.D. Martinez would be tied for the second best batting average on that team with McNeil. That's a huge help for a team that doesn't get any production out of a designated hitter.
But you don't know what J.D. Martinez would have been doing on the Mets. You have no idea. You have no idea what would have happened on the Mets. Just because he's on a different team doing better, maybe you would have got hit by a pitch day one. You have no idea. It's so easy to play this game of what would have, what should have. I could also be a radio host. I'll go in there, I'll look at all the stats and say, he should have done this, should have done that. Fire him. I mean, come on. The guy's a hard-working man. He's doing his due diligence, and the players are not performing.
Ralph?
Come on, Danielle.
Ralph, I guess you must be related to Billy Epler in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I haven't met a single person who wants to defend this guy like this. This team is a freaking dumpster fire, and you're defending him?
Of course. I'm not defending him.
Yes, you are.
You're not coming with content when you rip into trash.
Ralph. You know what, Ralph? I'm not coming with content. Are you freaking kidding me? I come with content every goddamn week there, Ralph. You're a joke there, Ralph. That's a joke there, Ralph, right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
No one does more homework than me on this radio station. I dare you to go find someone.
Oh, that's hilarious. You just don't bring any content.
Ridiculous. I'm bringing nothing to the radio station there, Ralph. Come on. Yes, I was excited for Scherzer. Yes, I was there for Verlander. And I said it's not just Billy Epler. There's blame to go around all of them.
Hey.
When you're 1A and when you're 1B, don't perform or don't take the field every fifth day, that's a problem. But when your owner says that you should be looking at past production and how that should help you fuel the future, that's wrong. Where is the variable for father time? That's what they should be trying to figure out.
Ralphie boy.
Should have got J.D. Martinez. They should have. I said it when it was available, when he was available still. Every week I was updating my list. Every week.
Oh, man.
Every week. It's not revisionist history. No. What do I bring to the radio? Really? What do I bring? I don't know, intelligence, logic, problem-solving abilities.
Yeah.
You want to do it here, Ralph? Go for it. Go start a podcast. Let me know when you want me as a guest. Jim in South Brunswick, you're up next here on the...
Dude, the way she goes to the next caller at the end, dude. Man, Jim in New Brunswick, you're up on the
He's like, I can just be one. I'll just study some numbers and some. You're fired.
Dude, that you find that's an epidemic, right? Most people you talk to, whether it's sports radio, podcasting, think they can do what you do.
Yeah, basically.
They think they think they can do what you do.
You got it right. You want to know. Okay.
It's easy to grow. It's easy to grow an audience. It's easy to talk Notre Dame football 365 days a year unless something else comes up. Like, this isn't a Notre Dame. Today isn't a Notre Dame news day. There's nothing coming out of Notre Dame today. Doing shows is tedious on a daily basis, man. So I have profound respect. Especially, I'm telling you, man, those that work in smaller towns that don't have big news, that have to do sports shows. I have profound respect for those that do the overnight shifts. Not just the sports radio, but regular radio that do the midnight to 3 in the morning, that do the 3 in the morning to 6 in the morning, and have to captivate the audience and build an audience, man. Like this, I don't miss sports radio left. This clip made me miss sports radio for a moment. I had to keep it a buck. Because as the producer, I'm on the other side dying.
Oh, yeah.
And you know why else I'm laughing? Because I cleared the call. I took the call, and I was like, oh, I got to put him on.
Yeah,
he's about to be epic. We got to put him on. Yeah. I just have to make
sure.
I just have to make sure I got my finger next to the dump button. That's all. My finger has to be next to the dump button at all times. But I know that the shout out to the producer because he knew that this caller was about to be epic.
Got him.
He knew it.
You're a joke, Ralph.
Bro.
They're a dumpster fire. Yeah, but you just don't got any good content. Oh, Ralph. Oh, man, great stuff.
Man, let me tell you something, bro. I had to play it. It was, man, one of the most amazing clips I heard. And I actually put both of them on the petty train left. And the reason I put both of them on the petty train is because she lost it. She had them. Just on facts. She had them. She got emotional. She got emotional towards the end.
Lost it at the end.
And she lost it. And that's when she lost her leverage. And that's when I was like, yo. Because it was epic. The phone call was epic.
It was great.
Now her rant took it to the next level.
Yeah.
But they tell you as a professional, she gets pulled in the office. Her GC is definitely telling her, or her manager is definitely telling her.
You had it, but
you had it the way you handled it at the end. Because in sports radio, it's all about the listener.
Yeah, it's all about the listener.
It's all about the listener.
And she had him too. She was dropping facts. He said, "Want to know? You want to know?"
Yeah. It's like no matter how crazy they get, it's all about the listener. So you see, once she went on her rant and she took it to the next level, she dropped him. Did you notice that?
Yeah, she dropped him.
Because she didn't want him to respond. She dropped him, and then she took it to the next level. So
this ain't about you. Yo, make his news and move
on. Bro.
He just wanted to say, give him a break, get some content. That's all. Constructive criticism.
Hey, and I actually understand where he's coming from. But there are no guarantees. And what JB Martinez, he's like, dude.
He's not playing with. He's not a Wembanyama. He's not a prophet.
Oh, that's another thing. She thought he was trying to say Bam Adebayo and had no clue that he was talking. He was talking about Victor Wembanyama, the presumptive number 1 pick. I could have been nitpicking and but she probably didn't hear correctly and thought he mispronounced.
Petticoat.
That was classic, boy.
Petticoat.
Ralphie boy.
Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, Petty Story of the Day brought to you by Onora Whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. Tim Anderson from Chicago White Sox. Step on up to the ticket booth, my man. I got a one-way ticket on the Petty train for you. He has been part of rumors of a love triangle on social media and websites for over a year now. During that time, he's gone from being one of the best hitters in baseball to a subpar hitter at the plate with no power, and he's regressed as a defensive shortstop in the same time. My heart goes out to him because when you're dealing with personal issues, it takes some tough son of a guns to still compete and play at the same level. You can't have anything on your mind. Left will tell you, man, you can't have outside stuff on your mind when you're going out there to quarterback. When you're going out to play the most important position in today's game at shortstop, you can't go out there with other things on your mind. Shout out to the pivot for being the comfortable space that he needed to come on and share his story. But my man, it didn't take all that. It's real simple. You were the face, or one of the faces, of Major League Baseball. The most hits, highest batting average over the last 3 seasons leading into the previous season. You were a superstar. A national superstar. Not just a superstar in Chicago, a national superstar. And unlike Bryce Young, who we explained earlier, you clearly showed that you weren't ready for that spotlight. So what do? When you have a smart, intelligent wife named Bria Anderson and 2 beautiful young baby girls at home, you go out and you procreate and you have another child outside of your marriage in Chicago. Not only do you do that, but you allow the other girl to jump on social media and denigrate and talk down to your wife. You allowed that. And I understand that being the country boy, you're from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You just got caught up in these Chicago streets, bro. It's different up here. You might be able to keep the country girls quiet. These Chicago girls ain't falling for that. Especially not if they're carrying your seed. No, you're going to be put on blast for real. And you had to learn the hard lesson. You had to learn it the hard way, man, because you wanted everything to stay real low key. So you waited to jump on the pivot yesterday to announce the name of your son. His name is Seven Anderson. That's really beautiful. You came out in February, claimed him. What choice did you have? You didn't have to claim him. She was getting that check regardless. If you didn't claim him, she was going to get that check. The White Sox covered up for you while the messiness continued. You undermined the leadership in the locker room talking about how much of a leader you are, how much your wife, Bria Anderson, was one of the main wives working with White Sox charities. I can't imagine how embarrassing it was for her around the ballpark. All of this going on, and you chose to stay silent because you didn't want to talk about it. What do you mean you didn't want to talk about it? The entire city of Chicago was talking about it. The girl is best friends with G Herbo's baby mama. The streets were talking. What are we talking about? This is the worst mishandle of stardom I've ever seen. And now you're just a dude. Now White Sox fans have turned their back on you. And you've given the White Sox 5 great seasons. And you had the nerve, when asked by the pivot, your contract is up at the end of the season. Do you want to be in Chicago? You had the nerve to say, I understand the business. If they want me, I'll be here. After everything the White Sox did to try and keep all of this mess under wraps and how they still supported you, you got the audacity to give an answer besides, yeah, I want to be here. Are you kidding me? Maybe going to another city and getting out of Chicago is the best thing for you, though. Because it's clear that you can't handle Chicago. Just a year ago, you said your favorite meal pregame is Shark's Fish. I knew right then there was something wrong with you. Shark's Fish is the most disgusting chicken on the south side of Chicago. When you got Uncle Remus and Harold's and plenty of other spots, heck, Popeyes. That let me know. That was the first key. Because I said to myself, Left, when he said that, he said, oh man, before a meal, before the game, I like to go and stop and get some sharks. I'm like, ain't no sharks on the north side, dog. All the sharks are low end, bad neighborhoods. What you doing? You pulling up in a bad neighborhood for some sharks? Who put you on sharks? And it all came out in the wash. Because I know Bria Anderson didn't put him up on sharks. I know nobody else in that locker room put him up on sharks. But I know now who put him up on sharks. The mother of his son.
Damn.
She made sure he had a 6-wing mild sauce before every game. That was your little stop off before the game, huh? Stop there on your way to the ballpark.
It's crazy.
A little run the bases. 6 wings. Go play. Go home to the family.
This man is crazy.
I get you, bro. But this little cavalier attitude you got, you put your family in this situation. You put your wife in this embarrassing situation. You laid down with a social media nut that didn't know how to keep the business private. You did that. And you want to sit here and act like you didn't want to talk about it when the whole world and the entire city was talking about it. Man, please. Take this seat on the petty train, bro. And as a fan, I don't care if you come back either. How about that? I'm indifferent right now. If you come back, cool. If you don't, man, I hope you do well at your next spot.
Out on Tim, huh?
Come on, man. It's a great interview, though. It's a great interview. They do a good job of digging into his past, his relationship with his father, how he got into baseball, being a kid from the South. They went into a lot of things besides that. But once they got to that at the end, and then it's like they're like, man, we're not trying to, embarrass or bring embarrassment. The embarrassment is out the bag. How can you stop? She's embarrassed. His daughters, as they get older, they will read when they finally meet their brother, it's not going to make sense. And they're going to say, wait a minute. We got a brother? How? Mommy, you had a shorty and didn't tell us? The embarrassment is out the bag. It's there. They tried to help him save face. But man, come on, man. And I hope and pray, because that's a lot to carry, Left. Him not saying anything, that was a lot to carry this whole time. And I hope him finally saying something and letting it out, I hope he can finally get back to just playing baseball. Because based upon what he said, he did the necessary work to fix everything at home. That's what he said. That's what he said. We'll see what happens when this new contract happens, though. Because I know if I was the attorney of Bria, I would say, no, wait, don't bounce now. Let this new contract come through. Let him get this $200 million. Then we can go make a little change.
Sheesh.
Lucky Lefty time. Hey, man, Tommy Tuberville, you on the petty train for that legislation, too, that NIL legislation. It's embarrassing, man. Be better. Left, great show. See you guys tomorrow. Man, you see how good I'm feeling, Left?
That's right.
Man, feel great. And guys, be Notre Dame fans. The Phil Jurkovec thing, it's not that serious. I promise you, man. Just let it go. For Left, I'm Shaun Davis. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Have a great day, but most of all, make sure you spin it different.